I'm here at the highest point in Ector County. This is the White Pool House. So this house was built back in 1887. And for many decades, there were a lot of concerns that this two-story building was not gonna last. But here we are 135 years later, and this house is still standing with a lot of cool stuff inside. So let's go. But even at the highest natural spot here, sometimes the view requires you to take a closer look to know the story.
You would go in and say, I need a nickel worth of cinnamon, and they would measure it out.
Take Christine Holcomb. She knows her history really well.
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's just Odessa history or U.S. history or world history. I mean, it's basically a roadmap. It prepares you for your future.
Christine is a board member with the historic White Pool House, which is the oldest remaining structure in Odessa, although it takes a lot of TLC to maintain it. And that's exactly what Christine does. Ask anyone who works here. They can tell you the same thing.
People, Odessa didn't want to particularly keep it at the time, when it first was here, because it was so desolate and broken down. And luckily, someone fell in love with it enough to save it. But since then, with Christine, it has grown into the venue it is today.
The story of this house dates all the way back to the 1800s. Back in 1887, Charles and Lucy White would build this home with their two sons. The Quaker family had moved from Indiana when their grain business got hit hard after the Civil War. Lucy's health also wasn't doing too well, but West Texas, along with its dry climate, would be the answer to their prayers. So why did they decide to move here to Ector County?
Well, it was part of an investment deal. Spangler and Findlay were the investors, and they bought large tracts of land. And if you follow westward expansion in our history, they went up to the Midwest farmer because they believed you could grow anything here if you had water.
That's a fact that stays true to this day. Even the outside of the house has a water well and a beautiful garden that's completely irrigated.
The water table was only 20 feet down, which is amazing, in 1887. Here we are in 2022 and it's only dropped 10 feet.
The house would eventually be bought by a man named Oso Poole in 1923. By the time 1926 rolled around, oil was first discovered in Ector County. Of course, the population in Odessa was only around 750, and there was a housing shortage because of it. So when things started to boom, Oso found another use out of this home.
So he was an entrepreneur, and he turned this into a boarding house, a 5-unit boarding house, and then he and his family lived down in the cellar. So this is Charles and Lucy. We keep their room called Charles and Lucy's room. I wanted to point out this lighting. It was like the 1850s when they started going to kerosene.
Each room has everything from the wardrobe to items used around the home like irons, a churner, even beauty products. That's a curling iron?
Yeah.
Hey, wow.
And this is how you would heat it up. You see there's no high and low settings.
The classic candlestick telephone was something I had to try.
Hello.
Hello, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah.
I might need a step stool for this. You'll also find a piano donated by the family and some record players.
But it was funny, I was giving one of the judges a tour and it started playing.
I had to ask for my own curiosity whether paranormal activity was something common here. Christine's answer? It depends on what you believe.
I guess if you take a healthy dose of skepticism with it, because I think there's some predisposition to want to believe it's haunted. I can tell you I've worked here many years and things shift and move just as part of getting old. But they will tell you that they see a woman standing in this window, very small woman with a bun, and that would have to be Lucy. But she would be watching out that way because where the courthouse is downtown, that's where the first mercantile store was, and that was where Charles would have been, and her waiting for Charles to come home.
The barn outside the home and the outdoor surrounding area has also become a space for couples to tie the knot.
One of the things that I think they also find is that they're surprised, because a lot of people who have even lived here most of their lives don't know about it. There's so much history here, but so little of it that really becomes a part of Odessa and is really celebrated. And I think this is a great way to do it.
The house's bridal room also lets brides get ready and share a moment of their big day.
So just before they go down the aisle, they make their little entry, and it becomes part of our written history.
Written history is what it all comes down to.
But seeing that with your own eyes here gives you a new perspective to how these West Texas pioneers helped build the place we call home today.
The people who lived here, who settled this area, the people who still make a living out here have grit. And I just think, the pioneers started it. They were unequaled. So I'm proud of it. I think it's wonderful. It's a testament to who we are.
And a testament that West Texas grit was once born at a special place, at the tall red house on top of the hill. I'm Jelena Okazaki. Catch us next time on the Basin Buzz.